All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome on back. Continuing along our Friday and closing out our week here live in the Cyber Group Trading Room and streaming across social media, Facebook and YouTube alike. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check, as always, to begin. Just make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Got this play stock dropping off as, well, to be honest, pretty much everything, right? Pretty much everything but SHLL, perhaps, right? Great to see everybody, though. Of course, all of us in our live trading room. Andrea, buongiorno, as always. Phil, David, Michael, Will, great to see you guys. Greg, Jose, Guy, Gene, great to see you guys. And perfect. All right. And like I said, for all of us streaming across social media, let's hop right into it, guys. We have class finishing up today, phase 2, lesson number 4. Actually, we hit a perfect stock, guys, today, and we'll be going over it coming up in class, SHLL. So just to begin, I'd like to go over just the market. Dow, you can see, of course, down almost 600 points heading into the afternoon. Yeah, 589. Is that 5 or 6? Man, my eyes, I tell you guys. I mean, well, I'll just do the quick, stupid math here, right? Down 600 plus points, at least from high to low across the day. Either way you cut it, guys. Dow approaching 25,000, what you would figure to be a major support level. We ended up seeing the Dow float around 25,000 recently, though, and it held for a little bit. But with the way the market's trending right now, guys, I mean, don't be surprised if things happen to drop off much lower. Perhaps, hopefully, if it ends up breaking under 25, then back through 25 on the way up and holding. Maybe at that point, you'll begin to see a nice little reversal, a nice little pullback. We ended up seeing that with the SPY, just to go into that briefly. This was maybe a week or two ago. As the markets were falling off, the SPY was breaking underneath magic support 300 and ended up moving right back through and ended up squeezing back up. So, that's what I'm referring to here in this case with the Dow. Play I just had up, PLAY, Dave & Buster's. We haven't really been following the stock much today, but I mean, hey, this could be a great stock to watch going into the close. Of course, tight spread, liquid order book, right within our price range, shortable, moving with the market. So, I wouldn't mind adding this to the list. We'll come back to the side list stocks just going into the end of the day or going into the end of this meeting, guys. What we'll do is just go right from the top to bottom. Like I said, we have class coming up, finishing up. Phase 2, lesson 4 lined up for all of our students here live in our trading room. So to begin, we'll do this very quickly, efficiently rather. But MDCA ended up making an after-hours run up. The stock was shortable going into the market open. I was screaming for this short inside our live trading room. Hey, for a stock that's up 150+% leading into the open, we typically see it pull back right after 9:30. This stock, unlike the other small cap stocks that are up big, all of these ones we've been following of late, guys, the difference between this one and all the others, this stock is shortable. So, that's why I was screaming so much for that short earlier this morning. My only gripe on this trade, I got to say, I thought this would make a much sharper drop off given how much it was up. At least once it ended up breaking underneath 250 for the second time, it ended up, beginning to break lower. But man, thing just really began to stall shortly after. So, you could see right now it's kind of near the lows. It's just washed out though, I think at this point, the volume that is. So for right now, we'll pass. Maybe this stock will come back on our watch list next week, going into next week here. CBLI, whew, look at this go. So one of our students, Dom, just called this out in our live trading room a moment ago. At the time, I said, hey, it was looking good, holding underneath 280, and there goes 280. All right, we'll look at the prints on the tape here. 280, some might say 282. Looking at these prints, 282, 283, perhaps the iceberg order on the ask at the time. Either way, moving up very nicely. It hasn't broken a new high just yet, though. And keeping that in mind as well, you have a 66,000 share order on the ask at 3. So, I mean, hey, this one's going to make our list. Definitely great call. And with that, we'll also look on the daily chart. This thing, I guess, has teased us over the last few months, over the last, part of the year. You can see this thing's made some crazy runs up on the 1-minute chart on the intraday, but of course, some other days it may have gapped up, ran up in pre-market, but dumped right back down shortly after the market opened up. Here we go. It's testing 3 or approaching it. Kind of a lightning round addition, but we'll save some time here to see if this can make the pop up to the iceberg. We'll give it 30 seconds. Ooh, part of that order may have gotten pulled. Yeah, look at that. Part of that order, guys, got pulled. It went from 66,000 down to like 12,000 or 16,000. Now, normally that could be based on just seeing an order routed through a different ECN, but once that 3 level is getting tested, you would have seen that order pop back up if it was like through like, ArcaBook or, a different exchange like the IEX or something. Man, that order got pulled. There we go. That's pretty cool. Well, order got pulled doesn't mean it's going to fly up just yet. Let's make sure this could hold at least, and then from that point begin to run up higher. I wouldn't even be surprised if this pulls back towards that last peak that we had around 295. At least for right now, things doing pretty good. There we go. Nice little push. All right, so we'll come back to this just to check in with it by the end. Shell warrants. I forgot about the warrants here. Warrants probably very big spread, low float, low volume. Yeah. Now, this is probably breaking all-time highs too much like the other one. We'll be going over Shell Tortoise acquisition coming up in class later today. Yeah, all-time highs on both. So at least for the meantime, we'll put Shell Tortoise on our list, at least for the meantime. IBIO, just given the volume the stock was trading at least across the afternoon so far, I wasn't expecting this to make a second run up. I got to say really quickly, guys, this thing, we like to not put personal interest into our trades. I kind of liked IBIO over the last 3 or so months. I'll tell you now, I'm not a big fan of the stock anymore, but it's, for a decent reason. This stock was teasing the crap out of me yesterday, just really quickly. This thing ended up going into the afternoon, holding underneath, and you can't see it on the chart, but a massive iceberg order. You could actually see part of it got filled, in fact, at 164, 200 plus thousand share spike. There was another 600,000 shares left behind it. So I was hoping for the pop, the breakout. The thing just stalled out all day. And the second the market closed up, I mean, I wasn't there for it, but the thing ran up right up without me. Right over 164. Ran up perfectly in the after hours, and then, of course, in the morning. We ended up trading this in pre-market, or at least heading into the market open. So we did all right early on, but man, that thing could have been such a beautiful trade off the breakout from 164. If anyone traded it here in the trading room, let me know, man. That would have been a very nice trade, at least based on the tight spread. This is more of a level one stock anyway. I'm not going to put this on our list going into the close, but just to say, this is one we'll certainly have to follow up with next week on. How could we not? Just trades big volume on the order book, trades a lot of volume every day. I think certainly at this point, too much volume, 133.5 million shares. So I wouldn't expect this to do as much going into the afternoon today, but definitely keep this in mind for next week. All right, VXRT. So I was telling one of our members here, Jerry, earlier, and it was much earlier going into the afternoon. I was saying to him, and he picked up 50 cents on it. So he had a very nice trade. I was just saying generally, this stock also is trading so much volume. I wouldn't expect for this to make, a really big move. At least up, given how much this stock has moved across the last 3 days. If it's going to move, it's going to have to be down. So at least for the meantime, this thing has had a very sharp bounce off of the 8 level. I wouldn't expect this to make, a whole second big move up higher going into the close. Maybe it could run up towards like 950 or something. But, given the overall volume this stock has traded, I just wouldn't expect for it to be as sharp as it's been across the last day and a half. So maybe we'll come back to this if we don't really have as big of a list. With the markets falling off, though, we should have a very decent list, at least as far as the side list, like the NCLHs, the RCLs, UALs, etc. All right, times 239. Let's try and go through quick here. Big. Ended up making a nice trend run up earlier today. Shortable, tradable stock by all means. Not going to put it on the list for right now. AEY up to 3. It could be like a nice little setup, but just pretty spotty chart. Not much activity, at least of late. EKSO, we were expecting this to dump off. Ended up doing just that. We talked about this in class earlier today. Ended up actually filling the pre-market gap on the way down. Ended up essentially holding over yesterday's high. Dipped a little bit underneath it, but moved right back above it and ran right back up here again. But at this point, we're expecting this to break lower or at least stall out. Probably Monday morning when we wake up, come back on here, probably end up opening up lower. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll have no problem with that. But, that's what we would usually expect. GPS, nice run up from earlier today. This one's little bit less pricey compared to that Big Lots trade. News came out on Gap earlier. I think it was like affiliation with like Kanye West's brand, in fact. Ended up making a nice pop. Ended up breaking out over resistance off of 12, trended up perfectly up towards 14 and above, pulled back. I mean, hey, this stock also is trading a lot of volume this point in the day, so I wouldn't expect for it to make a huge bounce either. But this stock is shortable, whereas the others aren't. So GPS, at least, I mean, hey, for right now, I'll add this to our list. All right, Workhorse WKHS. I was going to tune in on this one pretty quick. Ended up making a nice mid-afternoon run. I saw this called out a couple of times just earlier. I wasn't focused on this as much. You're looking at the shell trade primarily, but hey, this trade's moving back up towards 10. 10 was a huge level from 2 days ago. Ended up making a pop and drop yesterday from there. Pop and drop today. So hopefully, hey, I mean, third time's a charm, fourth time's a charm. For right now, I'll keep this on our list. Workhorse, nice, recent activity. All right, let's see, guys. I saw a call out from one of our students, Craig, on this NETE trade here. Nice pop. Volume crapped out, though. So good call at the time, at least for right now. We're not going to put that on our list. ALT, same thing. We'll just go through some familiar names here to round it out. Let's see. DVAX here. I think that's pretty much it. Maybe BCRX. BCLI, not to be confused with CBLI. BCRX, not really doing much. There's Blink. Oh, that's the AEY trade. Oh, that's weird. My scanner's refreshed on me right there. I was going to turn to Blink. Blink's making the same damn move, moving right up to 3. We are pretty familiar with this trade, guys. Not even over the last week and a half, we've traded this stock here in the Cyber Group room like the last, 3-4 years on and off. A lot more off than on, but off of news, you could see even just going back into, early 2020, this thing made a nice run up from basically 2 up to 350. Today, let's see, the highs from was Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, high of the week, high from Monday, 305, double top, right? Top right off at 305. For right now, we don't really see much volume on the matrix at 305. If anything, there's more volume currently at 3. I guess you might just have to wait for the break off 305, but you can at least see there's 7,000 shares on the offer at 3. That's your bigger level. I'd rather enter off the 3 level going into the close, if anything, on this trade. We'll see which way it breaks out. At least for right now, we'll put this on our list. I think this will make the bottom end of it, at least for right now. You can see the volume, it died off quite a bit, at least since 12 o'clock. But based on the setup, the pattern on the chart, hoping to see this make a second crack over 3 and 305, it's worth putting a focus on. All right, hop over to the losers list, guys. LK is getting delisted, I think, right? Ended up dumping off early on today. Popped actually at the open, but then dumped right back down after. It got halted on the way up. It reopened from its halt. It came screaming back down, got halted on the way down. And, hey, we've said this pretty much, almost every day this week, I feel like here. When a stock gets halted on the way down, the gap in which it reopens from is a lot bigger compared to the gap in which typically stocks reopen from as they get halted on the way up. So you could even see that here. This kind of opened up, just the bigger gap on the minute chart ended up dumping right back down. In fact, something I didn't notice, guys, for all of us that were in the phase 2 class from earlier today, all of us in the trading room at least, I didn't realize this. LK was breaking all-time lows. I should have figured that, just given it's a fairly new IPO still, just over the last year. But even just here, you can see on the daily chart, don't even need to, zoom back out. But the stock officially broke all-time lows today. It ended up running right back through them, though. It wasn't really that entertaining to see it break that much lower. But for right now, I mean, again, same thing. The stock's trading too much volume for me to consider going into the afternoon. It is down big. So, if anything, I would love to see this make a little bit of a squeeze. But for the meantime, I'm going to put this on the side list. All right, bunch of crap otherwise hard to borrow. What makes the percent gainers list usually makes the percent losers list. IDEX, SHIP. We put those on our list going into the afternoon this week. GLBS, IPDN. Man, you'd figure with the markets falling off, you'd have at least one major stock down big percent-wise. ADVM shortable. It's tradable. It's down big. I mean, Otherwise, yeah, I mean, we'll see if there's anything looking better even. All right, let's check out the side list for the meantime, guys. The cruise lines, airlines, casinos, etc. NCLH even kind of slow for right now. RCL, I mean, market is kind of choppy up and down. It's trending nicely towards the lows, so a lot of these moving with them. But I want to see something a little bit more volatile. At least all of these are setting themselves up for a nice little move with the market. MGM looks a little bit steadier on the way down 6% plus. You figure big support, 12,000 shares at least showing at 1550. Out of all of them, this one looks the best in my eye. We got a couple of call outs here. WKHS near the iceberg at 10. All right, take a look at that. Yep, right there. 45K at 10. Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot about this call out. One of our students messaged me earlier in the trading room. He was saying, just Josh, take a look at Cisco. And I did. I said, pretty good call. Ended up making this really sneaky run up. I mean, really against the grain here at the time. I don't know if news came out on Cisco at the time here. I will do a very quick load up on Benzinga Pro. I don't have it up on me. Shame on me. But Cisco was looking pretty good earlier on the run up. I mean, now at this point, it's pulled back a little bit. I mean, very tradable stock. Ended up making a very nice run up, at least from today. Let's see. News from yesterday morning, at least. Report partnership for building management systems. I don't really know. I don't see much else from Benzinga Pro. I'll post that at least on the stream and in the trading room. All right, Andrea closed out WKHS. He was in from 960. He picked up 38 cents. Do the math. He closed out at 998. Very nice. You know what? Yeah, I'll throw Cisco on our list, just given the activity today, given the range, the run up, the run back down. I mean, just very tradable. And now at this point, the Dow is breaking lower below 25,000 officially here. All right, guys. So, be prepared for a strong market going into the afternoon, not necessarily an up market, of course, but at least at this point, guys, we have a decent list. I'm going to throw that MGM trade at least for right now on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, we started off with play, and that was like one of the better looking ones right now. It's just holding over 12. It's down big. You know what? I'll add play as well. Why not? I don't have too big of a list at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stocks at least for right now, guys. Now, I know that most of us will be in class heading into the afternoon, at least for those of us inside the live trading room. So I'll post and tweet the picks. I'll post the link coming up shortly for class afterwards, and I look forward to seeing most of you guys there. In fact, I'd like to welcome some new students right before we finish up, in fact. So just give me a quick second here. We have a bunch of new students joining Cyber Trading University today. We have Andy H. from Utah. We have Stefan L. from Quebec. And we have Guy J from Texas. Welcome aboard to CTU, gentlemen. Alrighty. Well, hey, keep in mind, guys, phase 2, as we like to call it, it's more of an intermediate stock course class. I wouldn't necessarily recommend for you to begin right here. We have a really good starting point. Phase 1, lesson 1, if you start off right from the January curriculum, the January classes, that's really where we begin our curriculum across the calendar year. So welcome aboard. We love to have all of our new students join us here. If you guys have any questions, keep in mind, I'm going to post my email address right here inside the live trading room, at least. There you go. If you have any questions, certainly send over a quick email, josh@ctutrading.com. Have a quick one from YouTube here, really quick, before you finish up. GS short. Down big, right? I mean, little pricey. We normally wouldn't look to focus on $100, $200 stock as much. Great call as far as trend moving with the market. Name brand symbol, of course, Goldman Sachs. So, hey, if that's one that you tend to, play the options on, or if you tend to day trade at smaller shares, and if you're familiar with the trade, that would be an excellent one for you personally to focus on, Mikhail. All right, but aside from that, for all of our new students joining us here, and for anyone interested in joining CTU at least, like I had said before, if anything, just make sure that you guys start off on the Phase 1 course curriculum and just go down through every topic across the calendar year. All right, guys, for anyone else interested, please feel more than free to call the phone number down below on the banner, right on the live stream, and one of our education advisors will pick up or just provide more detail. All right, so I hope you guys make some money going into the afternoon. I'll be teaching class, so try and clean up for me at least going into the end of the day. All right, guys, take care.